Good morning, everyone. So I forgot to record the first one, nearly just 20 minutes. But anyway, so today this was gonna be discussing again and again about types of literature. So on the first one, let me share my screen to you on what we used on our discussion. Okay, let me share it to you in here now. You can see this one. Just a recap on what we have recorded on the last part, which is about literature. We discussed more about the definition of literature and all the things about literature. And we also have two major types of literature that we discussed, which is the first one we discussed already, the prose. And we have types of prose that is novel. We have another one, short story, plays, legends, folk tales, fables, myths, anecdotes, essays, biography, news, oration, and we come up now with the second type, major type of literature, which is about poetry. So our recorded video today will just be about poetry. And we have now to be discussed what is the word poetry. So it's an imaginative awareness of experience expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices as to evoke emotional response. And we have the first one, type of narrative poetry. So what is a narrative poetry? So this form describes important events in life, either real or imagination. But the real thing about having a narrative poetry is it narrates, merely it describes the whole scenario in the form of poetry. It may be your imagination or can be based on real life. Epic, it is an extended narrative about heroic exploits under supernatural controls. It may deal with heroes and gods, and the hero or heroine usually has the following characteristics: idealism, courage, wisdom, beauty, endurance, chivalry, and justice. Again and again, when we say hero, that pertains to the man, no, the man who is the uh, protagonist of the story. Heroine is for the lady. So again, now epic is for the heroes in gods, not only heroes, but gods and goddesses. And we had two kinds of epic poetry. We have popular or ancient epic and the modern. So when we say ancient, that is often without or definite author and is slow growth. Ancient before the mga epics, no, kada mga past the mga epics. When we say modern, what is in today's generation with a definite author. So we can really see that the author was the name of the author was has been used, unlike the popular or the ancient epic. We say popular, it's popular because until today it has long been used and storytell. That's why it's popular or ancient epic. And we have here example. On the modern day, we have Beowulf by R. Scott Johns. But on our right side, we have Biyagulan Epic. Here we have you can search it on Google, and we will be seeing a lot of ways on how they storytell about Biyagulan, not only in poetry but also on this kind of short story about Biyagulan. But naturally, originally, Biag Nilaman is a kind of epic. Metric tales, this is narrative which is written in verse and can be classified either as a ballad or metric romance. So examples of these are simple idylls or folk tales, log tales or tales of the supernatural or tales written for a strong moral purpose in verse form. That is metric tales. When we say, what do you call this one? A purpose in verse. So the Lady of Shalott by Lord Alfred Tennyson. When we say metric tales, It usually is has a measure unfolds, metric Roman. So there is a measure on how we are going to make this kind of tale. Third is balance. So this is considered as the shortest and simplest of the narrative poems. It's a simple structure, and tells of a single incident. Again, the single incidents they talk about love. It will just talk about love. When they talk about war, it was just going to focus on the word war. So we have here variations of these. Again, I've been stating this one: love ballad, war ballad, sea ballad, humorous, moral, historical, and mythical ballads. Example, The Rhyme and the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And we have here an example of ballad of the mother's maid harp. Instead, the Villa Terra. So the night was dark, for the moon was young, and the stars were asleep and rare. The clouds were thick, yet youth were run out to see his maiden fair. Dear one, he pleaded as he knelt before her face in tears. My love, it's true. Why you have kept me waiting all these years? The maiden looked at him, unmoved it seemed, and whispered low. Persistent you had to prove by deed. Your love is true. There's not a thing I would not do for you, beloved, said he. Then go, said she, to your mother dear, and bring her heart to me. Without any word, youth left, and without his mother's ear, he opened her breast, and took her heart, but he did not shed a tear. Then back to his maiden fair, he run, unmindful of the rain, but his feet slipped and he fell down, and loud he groaned with pain. Still in his hands he led the prize that would win his maiden's heart, but he thought of his mother dear, so kind, so sweet, so fond, and then he heard a voice, not from his lips, but all afar. Get up, it said. Were you hurt, child? It was his mother's heart. You see how lovely is the mother of his child, that even though her her son sinned against against her, still he cared so much, and he said the line, "Get up, where you hurt, child," just for the maiden's fair, a maiden with the heart of the maiden. Jowa pala niya yung maiden. Maiden tutuloy. Lyric poetry originally just refers to the kind of poetry meant to be sung to be accompaniment of a lyre, but now this applies to any type of poetry that expresses emotion, feelings to the poet. These are usually short, simple, and easy to understand. Lyric. That means you are going to sing this one, no? Ikantanin mo siya. No, didn't you know that these musics, some of the music are poem. Basically, a song is a kind of poem which is being sung. That's why it's called lyric poetry. Let's look for a lyric poetry in our, what do you call this one? Google. Google help me. The most poetic lyrics we have in pop music. Post Malone, Cardi B, Billie Eilish, and the other most dominant on the Drake recent streaming speed. A super interesting ride that has continued into 2019 rather. So we can check it out. This is more on a modern version, so kind of lyric poetry. Well, these are kind of examples in it. So, Types of lyric poetry. We have here example, folk songs, awiting bayan. These are short poems intended to be sung. The common theme is love, despair, grief, doubt, joy, hope, and sorrow. This is folk song. So remember the awiting bayan? We have here example. Let's check for awiting bayan folk song. If you still remember some folk songs in our country, still remember or still you know about this one? I got this
Starry,
one.
starry night. Paint your palette.
This is more on folk songs in the Philippines. Let's have an example of ayun. Example of folk songs here in the Philippines. Ayun. So another kind of poem we have sonnet. This is a lyric of poem of 14 lines dealing with emotion, a feeling, or an idea. So there are two types. There are actually two types, the Italian and the Shakespearean. So we have an example here by The Creek by Paul McCann. So I escaped down to the creek today. I lost my way and wished you would come. I sat down on the grass in the sun. In the silence I began to pray. In the water, some stepping stones lay, where my reflections just had begun. Your presence and thought had overcome. I was not lost alone that day. I walked away and stood on the stone. In water, I saw the blue sky. You came to me in a quiet place, in reflective prayer, and not alone. With the sound of the water flowing by and stepping stones, I walked in God's grace. Let's check if you have 14 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That is now a sonnet. Again, do not forget or always remember sonnet has 14 lines. To be considered a sonnet, it should have 14 lines. Elegy, so this is a lyric poem which expresses feelings of grief and melancholy and whose theme is about death. No other theme except death. Example of elegy, we have Angie. No one knows what really happened to her. All they knew that she was a good and dead. Some people say it was foul play. Some people say it was something wrong in her head. But then I began to have these weird dreams about her. Some beautiful, some horrible. But how do we know what's real and what's a fantasy when Angie's not here to and we have Ode. So this is a poem of noble theme, expressed with dignity, with no definite number of syllables or definite number of lines in a stanza. Ode to Sir Lucius Gray and Sir H. Morrisall, Ben Jonson, 1572 to 1637. It is not growing like a tree, in both doth make man better be. Standing long an oak 300 years, to fall along at last dry boughed and stale. A lily of a day is fairer fair in May. Although it fall and died at night, it was a plant and flower of life. In small proportions, we just beauty seeds, and in short measure, light with a perfect peace. And we have Sam. So this is a song praising God or the Virgin Mary and containing a philosophy of life. Psalm 25, if I'm not mistaken. So, a Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. The Leslie desired quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is Psalm 25. We also our wait for song. These have measures of 12 syllables or dodeca syllable, the dodecasyllabic and slowly sung to the accompaniment of a guitar or bandurria. So we have an example, Ryan and Laura by Francisco Balagtas. I don't know how to sing this song, but I was just going to um, yeah, I was just going to narrate this one. O pagsintang labis na kapangyarihan, sampung mag-aamay iyong nasasaklaw. Pag ikaw ang nasa puso ni man, hahamakin ng lahat kung sunod ka lamang. Ayan. Seven corridas. These are measures of 8 syllables, are octosyllabic and recited to a martial beat. So the songs are often about profession, daily life of peasants, and other socially important information. Ibong Adarna, sagot sa panalangin, Diyos na hindi natutulog at ang tao ay sumusubok, ang sarili sinusunog, ang banal ay pinupukot. Dramatic poetry, this is an emotional piece of literature which includes a story which is recited or sung. So, let's go to Okay, so we are here back again with our discussion. Just wait for a bit. Resume. Okay, good. So we have also this dramatic poetry. This is an emotional piece of literature which includes a story, which is recited or sung. So soliloquy and dramatic monologues are the main instrument or soliloquy and main instruments of this form of poetry. Comedy, this word comes from the Greek term komos, meaning festivality or revelry. This form usually is light and written under the purpose of amusing and usually has a happy ending. You see, comedy, this is more on a laughable or comedy, or it makes us um, laugh, no, and forget our problems. That is a comedy. Happy ending. Daddy fell into the pond, a poem by Alfred Noyes. So this is an example of comedy. We every day grumbled, the sky was gray, we had nothing to do with nothing to say. We were nearing the end of this small day, and then there seemed to be nothing beyond. Then Daddy fell into the pond, and everyone's face grew merry and bright, and Timothy danced for sheer delight. Give me the camera, quick, oh quick! It's crawling out of the big cliff. Then the gardener suddenly slapped his knee and doubled up, shaking silently, and the ducks all quacked as if they were deaf, and it sounded as if the old drake laughed. And oh, there wasn't a thing that didn't respond when Daddy fell into the pond. That is, yeah, Daddy fell into the pond. So this is just a reminiscing about when Daddy was fell in front of being clumsy about a thing that usually doesn't happen. And we also have melodrama. So this usually seen in a musical play with the opera. So this is related to a tragedy, just as far as the comedy. This arouses immediate and intense emotion, and is usually sad, but there is a happy ending for the principal character. We haven't talked about a farce, but later on in our discussion, we'll know more about what is a farce. Now again, now this is a musical play with the opera. Annabelle Lee is an example of a melodrama. It was many and many a year ago. In a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. And I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than the love I and my Annabelle Lee, with the love that the winged seraphs in heaven coveted her and me. And that is Annabelle Lee. We have now tragedy. This involved the hero struggling mightily against dynamic forces and meets death or ruin with the success and satisfaction obtained by the protagonist in a comedy. And that is a tragedy. Examples of Romeo and Juliet. I don't know if you still remember about this Romeo and Juliet, but they have a really tragic story because at the end of the story that they have, they are they died. Really, they died. I saw it. That is really tragic. They say you something someone has died. And Hamlet. Farce is this exaggerated comedy that aroused mirth by laughable lines, situations are too ridiculous to be true, and the character seems to be caricatures and the motives undignified and absurd. It's funny in a way, but it's exaggeration that makes you laugh and then laugh and laugh and laugh until you thought of crying. Yung matawa ka niya, wala ka kakuan, uy, naglak naman din ko to, kay subaw. Social films, this form is either purely comic or tragic, and it pictures the life of today. It may aim to bring about changes in the social condition. Well, this is usually used on the modern era of social films. And you will be going the social films later. On the last part of this one is going to be the last. We have here literary compositions that have influenced the world. So the Bible or the sacred writings, this has become the basis of Christianity, originating from Palestine and Greeks. This is for the Christians. And we also have Quran, the Muslim Bible, originating from Arabia. Third, the Iliad and the Odyssey. These have been the source of myths and legends of Greece. They have written by Homer. Homer, which is said to be is a blind person. How do they make an Iliad and Odyssey? But I have just a quick discussion about Homer. Although Homer is what they call this one a blind man, but he was able to send information by the use of mouth. So what totally use of mouth orally said, and then that's why we have now Iliad and Odyssey. Mahabharata, the longest epic of the world, it contains the history of religions in India. Canterbury Tales, it depicts the religion and custom of the English in the early days, and this originated from England and was written by Chaucer. Uncle Tom's Cabin, written by the Harriet Beecher Stowe of the U.S., so it depicted the sad fate of slaves. This became the basis of democracy later on. The Divine Comedy by Dante of Italy. They show the religion and custom of early Italian. We also have Alcid Conquistadors. This shows the cultural characteristics of the Spaniards and their national history. The song Orlando, this includes Dulce Paris and Roncesvalles of France. It tells about the golden age in Christianity in France. The Book of Dead, this includes the cult of Iris and the mythology of the and theology of Egypt. The Book of the Days, so this was written by Confucius of China. And lastly, we have the 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights. And also, someone would tell 1001 Arabian Nights. From Arabia and Persia, Iran, it shows the way of government and industries and the society of the Arabs and Persians. So this is merely talking about the one. There's a girl and there's a king, but um, pag tinatanong si girl sa king, pero tingnan niya ang kanang king na, oh, na-create story sa inyo. So, nagdagan ang story nila about Arabia and Persia, about the government and the industries of the society of the Arabs and Persians. And para lang yung dili siya patay. Kaya because there is a conservation every day, no? Kung na po, mag-story na po sila until such time na ang king na involved sa girl. And that's why they have 1001 nights or 1001 Arabian nights. So imagine there are 1001 nights about stories about Arabs and Persians. For your comment, use our comment down or our comment section on the YouTube video of this recorded video. Make make a poem depicting your learnings about our discussion today. Again, it should be in a poem format. Again, poem format about your learnings on today's discussion. Have a good day, everyone. I'll be checking your output in a form of poem in the comment section. Thank you again. Thanks for listening.